We are in fucking Hollywood, man!
Hi, and welcome to the 404 Films podcast. I'm Sive.
I'm Carl. Today we're going to be talking about our movie experiences in 2020. So that's the limited amount of times that we actually got to go to a theater, a cinema, before everything got shut down. Movies that came out in 2020, we'll probably give top 5 movies that we saw in 2020, if that was in the cinema or on VOD. And then just movies that we discovered in 2020, like because we were in lockdown. Watched a whole bunch of new movies that were years old and that we kind of fell in love with and want to talk about them. So we'll give like a top 5 of movies discovered in 2020 as well.
Yeah, ones that I've had on my list for so long. And now I've gotten a chance to watch them.
I think everyone fell into their IMDb watch list again.
Yeah. A lot of people have said that to me, that they've been like going through their IMDb watch list.
It's a dangerous game having one of them though, because I have this weird thing where even if I'm watching a movie that's been on my list and I'm not enjoying it, I'll stick it out and I'll finish it.
Yeah.
The majority of the time, but it's like this weird satisfaction of there's another one to tick off the list and there's another one to rate on my IMDb, because I'm trying to collect every movie that I've ever watched on this, ratings board. But like at the same time, it's like, it's never going to end.
Yeah, because
the watch list will constantly grow.
Exactly, yeah. And that's what's, I guess, I haven't actually thought about it in that sense, but I've made myself a Google Drive Excel sheet. And I've been writing like all the movies that I want to watch. And then if I've watched a movie that wasn't on it, I'll just add it in and I'll put my rating beside it as well. Because I know you said that it's good to use it on IMDb, but I kind of just wanted it in writing, in a document. I'm just weird like that. So I can have like a bit of satisfaction. Like, I watched all these movies.
I get that. I tried to do that when I was a kid with a copybook. And I was like, I'm going to write in every movie I've ever seen in this copybook. I think I wrote down Pirates of the Caribbean 1, 2, and 3, and then got bored, threw the copybook away somewhere. So.
Oh Jesus! Yeah, that was actually my New Year's resolution, was to watch 3 to 4 movies a week, and I've been doing that since. And I'm really proud of myself, because I would procrastinate on watching movies sometimes, and I'd go on Instagram and social media and stuff like that. And it actually would drive me insane. And I'd be like, this is like self-destructive. I'm not doing what I want to actually do.
It's hard to choose though. Like, I think it is a great thing to do now in lockdown. Now that people listening to us, obviously probably are from Ireland, but we are thrust into another lockdown. It's a great way to kind of just pass the time, is to watch a movie a day or something like that, or a TV show. I've been watching a lot more TV shows this time around, this lockdown, compared to the one that was in spring. And the summer of last year. Ooh, that feels weird.
I know,
of last
doesn't
year.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's very surreal. Yeah.
It doesn't seem like summer was 6 months ago. How can it have been 6 months ago? We've been in fucking lockdown most of the time since.
Yeah, so. The holidays kind of have come all together in lockdown, so that's kind of a good time frame in my head. But it's pretty surreal to kind of go back to it, because we're creeping up to the time when it began. In March again, so the fact that we'll be in lockdowns again, it's very surreal. But for somebody who doesn't like movies, you're kind of fucked, you know what I mean? But if you like movies, just sit inside, watch movies all day. There you go. You want to feel like you're doing something, but you're actually too busy with shit that's going on in your life, even though it's a lockdown. Try watching a new movie every day. Try reading more. Do something like that. Don't buy into this bullshit that you have to learn fucking 7 languages before the lockdown's over,
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
Little things.
Yeah, that's the worst thing, is that people feel so under pressure and they feel like they're not accomplishing things.
This is our positive thinking podcast now. All right, let's talk the brief cinema experiences that we had in the 3 months before the whole country got locked down. Because with me, I didn't go back out when the cinemas opened up over the summer, and in September, I think, was when they were closed down again. But I didn't. And I think they reopened again for December briefly.
They did,
but
yeah.
I didn't go out and try to go to the cinema during all that. I stopped once March rolled around. Not because also I didn't want to go, but it was also it was nothing really good on.
Yeah, I took the chance both times when they did open. And the movies I went to see, like, they were just,
Well, one of them sounded interesting. It had, I hope it did, I'm not too sure, but I think it had Dacre Montgomery in it from Stranger Things. It was the rom-com you saw, and the, what was it called?
Broken Hearts Gallery.
Yeah, and then the other one was a James Corden,
Oh, Super Intelligence.
Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah,
Jesus
I didn't
Christ.
enjoy that one at all. Like, at the time I was like, like, it's funny, but just looking back, like, it wasn't. I like Melissa McCarthy, like, I like her in Bridesmaids, and I
I do too.
think she's funny, but this movie was just a little bit like, it was a bit of a drag, to be honest.
I'm not a James Corden fan. I don't get his appeal. I won't bash him on this, but I just really don't see the appeal. Miss McCarthy has done stuff that I actually quite liked, so.
Yeah. I think she's cool. I don't really have much of an opinion on James Corden. I think he's grand. Like, sorry, I feel like I've completely bashed these films and I feel kind of bad and I kind of regret it.
You should regret it. People work hard on these pictures.
I know. Broken Hearts Gallery. That was grand. That was actually like a nice kind of rom-com to go see and just to chill and just, it was a bit of like interesting, light. And then Super Intelligence, unfortunately, just didn't really like click with it.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. I remember you said it to me and I was like, not my thing at all. I think the majority of the films that I saw in the cinema were actually quite good. I think there was one that I ended 2019, which was, I think, in my opinion, probably one of my, I'm still a young man, but one of my best years of going to the cinema. Some of my favorite movies came out in 2019 and I got to see them in the cinema, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is one of my favorite films now. Got to see that like 4 times in the cinema in 2019. I saw Endgame. I saw Crawl, the alligator movie. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Loads of really great movies that came out in 2019. And then I finished it off with the new Star Wars movie, which was kind of probably not the best idea. I actually started 2020 off by watching a movie people had seen months before because it did so well that they kept it in the cinema, and that was Knives Out. That movie was so successful that they kept it running in the cinema into the new year. So I started off 2020 getting to watch that, and it was fucking amazing.
I can't remember if I saw that in 2019 or 2020.
I think you saw that in 2019 because I remember when we used to work, you were like going to the cinema and asked us, did we want to go see it? And I was like, no, I'll see it eventually. And I thought it had run its time in the cinema, but a few of my friends went to go see it after, on the like rundown from Christmas.
Yeah.
When people were still on their holidays and stuff. So I went to go see it with them, and I was shocked it was still out, but I'm so glad I got to see it in the cinema.
Yeah, it was a good one. That was probably one of my last movies then I saw in 2019. And then I started 2020, I think, seeing Jojo Rabbit with yourself.
Yeah, that was good.
I can see the appeal, but there was something about it that I just didn't love.
I wouldn't be a huge fan of the type of humor in it, but I did enjoy it. I actually saw the day before that I saw 1917. So I was kind of on this war buzz. I saw that on a Sunday night, and then I went to go see Jojo Rabbit with you on the Monday that night. So it was a nice kind of comparison of kind of war movies, very different. Well, World War One, World War Two, but they're very different, obviously different types of films. But I thought they were kind of a cool double bill to have in that kind of quick succession,
That's a good idea to probably do. I saw 1917 afterwards, but I loved that. Loved 1917.
You have a brother in the 2nd Battalion.
Yes, sir.
They're walking into a trap. Your orders are to deliver a message calling off tomorrow morning's attack. If you fail, it will be a massacre.
The next film that I saw, and I think it was my favorite movie-going experience of 2020, was getting to go see The Lighthouse in the IFI, because you know how that movie is, it's not 4:3, it's even smaller than 4:3. I can't remember exactly what the ratio is. Yeah, it's not actually 4:3, it's a little bit tighter than 4:3 is TV settings with the big bars, and this is a little more squashed in. But we were watching it, I went to go see it with Dara, who's been on the podcast before, and a friend of the pod. And when we were watching it, all the trailers played normally on the big screen. But then when the movie started and the little kind of box came up, they brought the curtains in to kind of be in line with the shape of the screen.
Yeah.
But when they did it almost in cue with the sound of the lighthouse ringing out. So it was such a great setup for that movie because it was so like atmospheric.
Yeah,
you know?
and see, when you told me that, I was fucking so excited to go see it then, to experience that. And I went to see The Lighthouse in the lighthouse, and I was waiting for that to happen, the curtains. I was like, okay, Carl said, like, the curtains are going to pull in and it's going to be all, like, really fucking magical, and it didn't do that at all because you went to see it in a different cinema, so,
Yeah. I went to go see it in the IFI. I had seen that movie before you, and I think we were all talking about it in work. And I remember my recommendation for the movie, or not a recommendation, I loved it, but I remember saying to you and to the others there, I was like, yeah, that was a good movie. A lot of jizz in that movie. Like a lot of jizz. And I remember when you saw it, I asked you, what did you think of the movie? And the first thing you said to me was, not as much jizz as you had made out.
Yeah,
0 out of 10.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was like. I mean, you said that there was a lot, so I was expecting it to be like every couple of minutes.
There was enough.
Fair.
I want to be an artist in Rome and be the best painter in the world.
That's what you want too, isn't it, Joe, to be a famous writer? Yes, but it sounds so crass when she says it.
I think I actually saw Little Women in 2020. I know it came out in 2019, but I think that was one I saw in the January, which is a really nice movie. I really like Little Women.
I haven't seen it yet. I really do want to. I watched a bit of it the other day, and it was a very nice moment when Saoirse Ronan and Timothy Chalamet do that dance sequence around the house. So I have yet to. That's probably a good point. I think that movie. We're going off Irish releases.
Yeah.
So like how it works in the UK, a lot of movies that you probably saw in the Oscars didn't get released for us until 2020.
Yeah.
So Lighthouse, Little Women, 1917, Jojo Rabbit,
The Invisible Man, was that?
Parasite.
Yeah, Parasite as well, yeah.
Parasite was a huge one. Now I didn't see that in the cinema, but you saw that in the cinema.
Yeah, I did see that in the cinema. It was really, really good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think I missed so many movies this year on VOD and in the cinema, but I did get to check out Parasite at home, and it is one of my top 5 movies of 2020.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna really go on and on about it because it's gone on to win Best Picture and Best Director.
Everyone's talked about it.
Yeah, no, as it should have, you know what I mean? But you know, it's funny to me that like that could have been your last experience in the cinema for the first lockdown. Ended it on Best Picture winner, you know, Parasite.
Really nice
but no, we all went to go see The Invisible Man before the
literally
before
at the very peak of when it was about to go into lockdown.
I think like a week before. Yeah.
And we were all sitting in the cinema, and I there was like 5 of us who went, and I remember sitting there throughout the film, and one of the girls that we were with, who's kind of scared of like scary movies and stuff, she was like jumping at some of the parts, and I was like, oh, she must be like, you know, really getting affected by it, she must like enjoy it. And I was sitting there and I was like, just waiting, and I was like, God, everyone must be like really enjoying this, no one's really said anything. And I was like, oh fuck, am I the only one who didn't like it? And then the minute the movie ended, everyone was like, oh God, that was awful. And I was like, thank God that wasn't just me.
I said that with like a heavy heart because it was made by Lee Winnell, and I really liked his other movies because he wrote Saw and he wrote Insidious, and he made Upgrade, which I think is so cool, like some great gore in that movie. But like I saw the trailer for the movie and I wasn't impressed, and then everyone said, oh, you have to see it, it's amazing, it's Lee Winnell. And I was like, okay, rallied the troops together, we all went to go see it, and I just didn't get it. It did not work for me at all. It was
and I don't understand how it's gotten so much like great reviews, and I just feel like I'm like, am I the only one thinking this?
There was parts of it that I quite liked. The part when he gets revealed where she throws the paint on him is amazing. I thought that was so cool.
I thought it was so done. Like, I mean, even when I was watching It Follows the other night, like they throw a sheet over blanket over. Like all those things are all done already. Like I really enjoyed It Follows. Side note, but if that's the biggest thing in the film,
the original like, you know, it's doing the same stuff because we've seen it before. Like, it's a reimagining, but it's like The Invisible Man, the classic with Claude Rains, I really enjoyed. But like, you know, if you want to see it done in a futuristic kind of setting, they did it with Kevin Bacon, Hollow Man, which I haven't seen, but Paul Verhoeven made it. I'm pretty sure he's a rapist in that movie too. I don't think anyone can make a modern Invisible Man where he's not a fucking rapist. So there you go.
Yeah.
Go figure. I get it though.
The only thing I liked about The Invisible Man was the production design.
Oh yeah, no, don't actually no. There is great parts in that movie. That opening is amazing.
Yeah.
When the title card is invisible and the water from the wave splashes up on it and it leave like the water dripping from it leaves the title card.
Okay, I'll give it
I
that.
can't put in a clip. I can't put in a clip because it's all visual, you know.
Yeah.
But there is some incredible funny moments that are not meant to be funny. Like the bit in it, I'm not going to spoil the movie, but there's a bit in it when the main character is staying with a friend of her sister's, and he has a daughter, and
I forgot about
like
that.
she gets punched in the remember she gets punched in the head, and then she's like, "Oh no, she hit me!" And it's like, "I didn't hit her. It was the Invisible Man or whatever." And it's just so funny because it's like it's a little girl getting punched in the head like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's kind of like unintentionally hilarious, you know.
Yeah.
Same thing happens later in the movie. Somebody gets their neck cut, like their neck slit, and the knife like whisks into the main character's hands, and it's just kind of like this looks silly, you know what I mean? It looks very silly, you know.
See, I really, really love Insidious by him. Insidious is actually one of my favorite like modern horror films because I'm very into like the older horror kind of films, I guess. But that was one that I saw that came in 2010, I think, and I remember someone in school told me to watch it, and they said that it wasn't like a horror movie or anything like that. And I remember I got into bed after school and like I turned off all the lights and I went and put it on, and the opening credits made me shit my pants, and I had to turn the light back on. I was like, what the fuck, this is a scary movie. I didn't understand. But then it's actually so well done, and the storyline of Insidious is great, especially the second one. The second one is nearly even better.
I stopped watching them after the second one, not because I didn't like it, I just never got around to it. The first one's my favorite though, but the first one is like I feel like that and Sinister, the movie with Ethan Hawke, are great to show people who, you know, aren't too sure about horror movies and stuff, and they're both very kind of scary, but they're also very mainstream in a way. You're not gonna put like The Wicker Man on, or like that. Ooh, watch
or
this,
Midsummer,
you know?
or something.
If you want to test the waters, that I feel like they're great ones, and they're actually really scary too, you know.
That was all the theatre experiences I had over the course of the 3 months that we had with open cinemas, and then the other couple of scattered weeks.
The other two,
then
that came after,
I was lucky that I did get to go to the cinema during that because I missed like that experience.
Yeah, no, I mean, I missed Tenet, or is it
Tenet? Yeah.
Tenet, or whatever the fuck it's called. I heard it wasn't very good, but that's a friend of mine went to go see it in the fancy place in Dublin. I can't believe I'm forgetting the name. Anyway, he went to go see it during lockdown, and he said the sound design was really, really, really bad in it.
No way.
And that put me off the movie. Yeah, so, but there was a load of movies that came out on VOD, which I completely missed, which I felt really bad, especially when you're trying to do a list of movies that came out 2020 to say that 2020 was a good year for movies. I didn't see half of them because I've been watching movies that have been on my watch list since the last,
would be the same.
5 years.
Yeah. I have missed a lot of films this year that came out like on VOD, but I think I've seen more than you have though. Have I?
I think so. Yeah, like I missed some ones that I really was looking forward to. Like I'm a big Bill and Ted fan, and I missed that entirely because it was in the cinema, and I was gonna go see Bill and Ted Face the Music, and then it got pulled. So then they released it on VOD, and just never got around to watching it. You know, there's some great movies that came out over here though before lockdown even began on VOD. Like Uncut Gems wasn't released until January.
Yeah, because
over here
I would have watched that in about January at home on Netflix. I remember watching it last year. It was really good.
Yeah, another one that was snubbed at the Oscars completely. Like,
really, yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah. Should have won for that opening title. You know, opening title sequence was amazing. You know, when you're going through all the you're inside the what's it that he has in it, like a crystal or something.
Yeah,
It's a big
they're doing
geo
like
or
a
whatever the fuck it
colonoscopy or
is.
something of him.
Yeah, and then you end up in Adam Sandler's arse. It's just perfect because it's like it's Adam Sandler.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, exactly. A lot of people who don't like Adam Sandler actually really liked that movie. I really like Adam Sandler.
I'd be one of them.
Really, yeah.
I'm not a huge fan.
I
No,
like
I
him.
liked him in all of his more pretentious kind of serious movies like Drunk Punch Love and all that, or Punch Drunk Love. There you go.
Who Be Halloween though? Oof, that's a little bit of a oof.
That was a 2020
It was,
release.
yeah, and I didn't finish it.
Didn't bother with that. Yeah, no, not my cup of tea. I didn't see many of the 2020 releases. A lot of them that I'm looking at my list here are Irish. Well, at least 3 of them are Irish. So that makes me feel kind of
That's
good. Sea Fever, Vivarium, Comet Horses. Comet Horses was really good.
I'm told I was a violent child. I can hurt people.
I'm pretty sure it's English, but it's on Shudder. If anyone has Shudder, which is like the horror Netflix. Shudder, please sponsor us. But the movie Host that came out on that, it was probably my second favorite movie of the year.
Yeah, see, I really enjoy because you told me to watch it, but the only thing that bothered me is that we both have written short films similar to Host.
Yeah, we were there like, what are we gonna? You can't film stuff, so well, let's make horror movies through
Zoom. Yeah.
And like, I'm a big fan of the movie Unfriended. I thought that was a lot of fun, but it was kind of unrealistic with how like why people were using all of their webcams and everything like that.
Yeah.
It's like it was fine, but it's like there's a guy who like in one part of the movie is like, this is freaking me out. I'm gonna go get my dad's gun, and he runs off and gets his gun and waves it into the camera, and it's like, well, you know he's gonna fucking use the gun eventually, like, you know what I mean? Why would you like that's? But Host, it makes so much sense. Like, it's only like 56 minutes, which is like very handy when you don't have a lot of time to watch a movie. It's very scary, and like all of the I think a lot of actors that worked on it are like stunt people. It's made by Rob Savage, and like I think there's one particular fire stunt in it that really, scared me, because you hear your man burning to death, and it's, I don't even want to talk about it too much because I just want people to go watch it, but it is the like pinnacle webcam movie,
But it was done so well,
so good,
and especially because it was so relevant as well, because the way
it was at the height of it.
Yeah, it was the height of the lockdown. It was the first lockdown. It came out in about May, I think, which they were very quick with. It was around that time anyways. It could have been June, could have been July.
Everyone was mad clever in the movie for why they used the things they use. Like, there's a part where somebody has to go look up in their attic, and they're like, oh fuck that, I'm not going to stick my head up there. Like, we've seen in like movies like Wreck and like The Grudge and stuff. She gets a selfie stick where the call is continuing to go, so people all from home are looking up at it, you know what I mean? And
it was very creative.
The credits of the movie. Oh yeah, like he knew how to use kind of Zoom to its full kind of potential, where it's like, I thought it was really funny that when the movie ended, the credits are listed as participants. You know how like you have participants in Zoom?
Yeah.
So that was cool, I thought that was really, I think he went on to sign a deal with Blumhouse that he's got like a 3-picture deal, so
fair play to him. I enjoyed it a lot.
This is not good. I told you not to disrespect the spirits. It could be something demonic. Haley, this is all your fault! Not my fault! This is your fault!
Another one that I saw over that came out on Netflix in about September, was it? Yeah, September was I'm Thinking of Ending Things. The creepy vibes that it gives you, especially they so basically Jessie Buckley and Jesse Plemons are in a relationship together, and it starts with her being like, I'm thinking of ending things, like, and she's like kind of describing her relationship with Jesse Plemons. And
oh wait, are you gonna spoil this? Because I haven't seen it.
No, I'm just gonna tell you the beginning of it. Like, I'm gonna try not spoil it. Well, it's a very in-depth movie, so even no matter how much I tell you, you're not going to understand what I'm telling you. Maybe.
Well, I avoided it. I will watch it, but I avoided it because so many people were like, oh, it's real, dreamlike, and it's very, like, trippy, and...
it is trippy, yeah. It's good. I think you'll like it.
So... I mean, yeah, I like dreamlike movies, but it's also... I heard this recently... on another podcast that somebody said, you know, dreamlike is like the ultimate way to you know, forgive a movie for not making sense. Like, I love Italian horror movies, but when people were like, oh, you know, they're also dreamlike, it's like, yeah, because they don't fucking make any sense. Don't excuse them for that. Like, it's cool, but like, you know, but I think I haven't seen the movie, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah, but see,
put
it's
it down
based on the
before I see
book,
it, you know?
and the book of I'm thinking of ending things, and I'm not going to ruin it, but I think it's really good. Basically, she's talking in her head. She's like describing all the emotions of how she's feeling towards her partner, Jesse Plemons. And it's very relatable in a sense in that way. Like, yeah, it can be quite relatable. Like, cause she's thinking it's all the thoughts that's going through her head. And she's going to visit his family for the first time. They've only been dating in the movie for a couple of weeks. And she's just not really that into him anymore. But
which leads into the other movie, its sequel, She's Just Not That Into You.
Yeah.
Because I believe that they're paired together.
But me telling you that is not telling you even a quarter of the film. Like, you have to watch it. It's just so good.
Jake, my boyfriend.
It's snowing.
Winter is coming in.
We have a real connection. A rare and intense attachment. I've never experienced anything like it. I'm thinking of ending things.
Huh?
What?
Did you say something?
I don't think so.
Is there any other movies from 2020 that you got to see?
Borat.
Oh god, yeah, no, I remember the hype of Borat being released, you know, seeing him drive around in a little van or something.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the first one. I heard it's very good, but it never interested me, but I'll watch it eventually. I like him as an actor. Sacha Baron Cohen, yeah, I like him as an actor, but wasn't really mad into like Ali G or any of that stuff. So
yeah, I actually never watched Ali G, but I watched This Is America, and I just think he's
oh yeah,
gas.
That was funny.
Yeah.
From the parts of that I saw, that was funny. Yeah.
That's really funny. No, I love Borat, and I think it's just funny. It's just stupid. It's not even that stupid because it's kind of really, especially the second one.
It's more like This Is America. I think
it
is. That
is.
it's aimed towards that particular type of people.
It
I
is.
think again, isn't it?
That's exactly it. Like, it's just more unveiling of what people on that side are like. Yeah, which I like.
I get that.
Vivarium, you mentioned, that was one I watched as well.
Yeah, another Irish one. Yeah, a lot of stuff on Shudder. Again, Shudder. Sponsored podcast. Yeah. It would be great, you know. But yeah, a lot of original content was put. So like Host, Vivarium. I saw this other one, Scare Me by Josh Rubin. It's like a bottle movie about two horror writers trying to scare each other in a cabin. And that was Josh Rubin was an old college humor writer. So this is his first feature. It was good. It was very good. It was very, if you like stuff like My Dinner with Andre, like dialogue movies, this is a very good one. Because it's just literally, you know, somebody telling you a story and you're imagining it as the characters are. You know, that you don't see what they're saying, you know. He tells a story about a werewolf and you see glimpses of like a werewolf, but you don't actually see it because it's literally just him reenacting the story for this other writer and for the audience. So it's something different, you know.
On a side note, were you like a fan of his college humor stuff or something?
Yeah, wouldn't say I'm a massive fan of College Humor, but I did remember him immediately from College Humor. Like, he was in one sketch that I remember particularly well, which was I don't know if it's still up on the channel, but because I'm not a big College Humor fan, I just remembered some of them from back when I was a kid and I watched them. But there was this one that starred him that said Twister, you know, the game Twister, was for sexually repressed people because it like allowed people to grind up against each other and stuff like that. So that was one that I remember he was in that made me laugh a lot.
Power outage. I'm bored. Let's tell each other scary stories.
I watched You Can't Kill David Arquette. You know David Arquette from
Scream? Yeah.
Yeah, Courtney it was about his it was about his short-lived wrestling career back in the day and how he went back into it over the last couple of years. And I used to like wrestling a lot as a kid. I stopped watching it, but I love all the behind-the-scenes stuff. So like Beyond the Mat, all the documentaries kind of exposing wrestling for kind of what it is, not in the negative way, but like it's a big kind of show. It's basically a bunch of stuntmen working together and doing very dangerous things, and the kind of the bullshit behind it in regards to all the politics in the locker room and all that stuff. So it's another documentary that goes into that list of stuff like Beyond the Mat and The Dark Side of the Ring, which shows you, how weird that world can be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's such an interesting lifestyle, So that would be definitely one to check out if you're interested in those type of things. And if you're a David Arquette fan, because they interviewed the entire Arquette family.
I'd like to announce my return to professional wrestling.
Did I wrestle again? What are your thoughts?
Yeah.
That's my boy.
One of the last movies that Chadwick Boseman is in, the Spike Lee movie, The Five Bloods, the one where they're all in Vietnam.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't seen it myself now, but
I didn't love it. There's some, I don't know, I'd have to rewatch it, but I felt like some of it was somewhat like, I don't know if problematic is the right word, but like, it was a very odd movie, but some of the scenes in it were amazing. And some of the performances in it were amazing. Like, Delroy Lindo gives one of the best PTSD performances I've seen. And Spike Lee does really interesting stuff as well. I think he's known for putting the camera right in somebody's face, like a documentary. But there's a whole sequence when Delroy Lindo just goes kind of mad. And you follow him with the camera right in his face, and he kind of just keeps repeating to himself, and no one else is there with him. So it's just kind of his PTSD unraveling as it goes on. And it, like, there's great bits in it as well where every time they have a flashback to when they're in the jungle in Vietnam, it goes into 4x3. So it closes in like the lighthouse does. You know what I mean? So that was quite cool. So it's worth checking out,
Black GI, is it fair to serve more than the white Americans that sent you here? Nothing is more confused than to be ordered into a war to die without the faintest idea of what's going on.
So what were your top 3 movies of 2020? Movies that were released in 2020?
number 3 would be...
Is this in order, like, of least to best?
Yes, 3 to 1. I'm going to go
Okay.
in. So from number 3 would probably be Borat. Number 2 would be 1917. I really enjoyed that one. And number 1 would be I'm Thinking of Ending Things. Really enjoyed that. Watched it twice within a couple of days apart. And I just really like those kind of surreal movies. So that definitely is that's my number 1. I would definitely watch it again. What about you?
Yeah, it's fitting that I think VOD movie made it like as number 1 in your list, I don't know if these are in order for me, to be honest with you, but number 3, Parasite. Again, I won't talk about it. I'll talk about it on its own some other day, but everyone knows everything about it now. But it does live up to the hype. I'll quickly say it lives up to the hype. If you don't know anything about it, just go see it, because it's this amazing blend of all these different genres.
Yeah.
Number 2 is Host, the webcam Zoom movie, and number 1 I think is The Lighthouse for the actual. I don't know how many. I've went back to rewatch it I think twice now, but I don't know how many times I'll rewatch it because it's quite a heavy movie. But I remember somebody said to us that, like, movies like The Lighthouse, they're just they're so miserable. You know what I mean? They're just like they're so like hard to watch that it's such like a miserable experience. I really don't know if I'll ever watch it again. And I was like, that's fair. I like it for all of its weirdness and its
same here, yeah. But it is miserable.
But, like, I totally get that.
Yeah, because there are people who are living in places that are so deserted and isolated like that. And I can only imagine how hard that is.
Yeah, they just end up fucking mermaids.
Yeah.
Doing all sorts of weird shit and masturbating furiously to Little Mermaid statues. But no, for the experience of seeing it in the cinema and for the acting, I think, for Willem Dafoe and everything, and just the set design.
Yeah.
Fucking great movie. But like the language in it and everything, people took to it quite well for how
out there it was.
For how weird it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I went to go see it with Dara, and I really assumed he wouldn't like the movie. I really didn't think he'd like it because I kind of knew it was going to be and not to spoil the movie, but I knew it was not gonna have like a conclusive kind of ending, and people would have to leave it and come up with theories and stuff. But he left it, I think, liking it a lot more than I did. So
interesting.
You know?
Yeah, that's interesting. So then that kind of moves us on to our like, what movies did you discover over the lockdown that were on your watch list for a long time that you really liked?
This is a hard list to make because I had seen so many new ones that I had meant to get around to, but I'm not going to go in ascending order or anything like that, or descending order, because they're all kind of great. But I think the first one is I, Tonya.
The haters always say, Tanya, tell the truth. There's no such thing as truth. Everyone has their own truth.
And I discovered that finally it was on my list for a few years now. It's 2017, but when that just came on Netflix, and I kind of forgot the movie existed. But wow, that was a thoroughly enjoyable movie.
I saw it in the cinema, and I came out wanting to be a figure skater because I thought it was so amazing.
Rather than a filmmaker, which is the profession that you were in at the time. No, it's really an amazing movie. Like Craig Gillespie, I hope I said his second name right, who made one of my favorite movies, which is the Fright Night remake that I spoke about all the way back in our first episode. But I didn't know that going in that he made it. But it's like, I don't know, I feel like it's just another kind of Goodfellas, which we've talked about before.
It is, yeah.
It's like Goodfellas, you know? That's why I like it.
It's the pacing, I think, of I, Tonya, that makes it very similar to Goodfellas, and Goodfellas is one of my favorite films. And then I, Tonya, it's just so fast paced, and they break the fourth wall, and I love that. And it's in a comedic way, and it's very like charming in that sense. Like I really, really love it.
Like what we said with Goodfellas, it's that Martin Scorsese type biopic kind of thing where it's so fast paced that you never have a chance to get bored, and when it does slow down, the acting is too good to stop watching it, and the soundtrack is amazing. Soundtracks. When Dire Straits came on, I was sold on the movie, but like the idea that it's this what's it like, it's because it's all people telling the story. Some of it is like, okay, that's not how it happened, this is how it actually happened. You know what I mean?
Cuts it's between interviews.
And I think your man Paul Walter, I'm really bad with names, but Paul Walter Hauser, he was from The Five Bloods. I would know him as the Juggalo from Always Sunny, but he plays Sean in the movie, and I think he steals
so
the fucking
funny
movie. Like when he's being interviewed, it's amazing.
But you don't.
But I do. I've actually been quoted as an expert in terrorism trends and profiles.
Where?
I believe it was a travel magazine.
Another one of my movies I discovered was a movie called American Animals, made in 2018.
Oh, yeah.
With Evan Peters and Ann Dowd and Barry Keoghan. And it was amazing. It was the same. It was a crime documentary, docudrama thing. So obviously they're all actors, but they had the real people being interviewed. It's a bunch of college students that do a heist in a library in Kentucky. Is it interesting with how they did it? Because it's like they show the scene with Evan Peters and Barry Keoghan talking about, oh yeah, we should rob this library, and then it cuts back to the real guy who's like, I don't remember it playing out like that at all, and then we re-see the scene the way he tells it. You know what I mean? So they're both, I didn't even think that they tied in.
That's really interesting.
Subconsciously, they tied in. So American Animals, really, really good.
How can I tell you if I'm in or I'm out without you telling me the first thing about what I might be in or out of?
This would be something dangerous and very exciting.
This library is home to the most valuable book in the United States.
$12 million. You really need to see how easy this is gonna be.
Oh, you know this from all your previous heists?
2 movies that I discovered were over the course of, like, I guess it was actually kind of it was just coming into lockdown, or just a little bit before, was Midsommar and Hereditary.
Midsommar was like on mine as well.
I knew Midsommar was going to be your one as well, because I watched Midsommar having no idea what was going to go on, and holy shit, did I poo my pants, because I was like, oh, maybe.
A lot of shit talking.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I'm sorry. But yeah, Midsommar, I didn't know what to expect, because I never, like, I know Hereditary was like first. It was made first. And I
Yeah.
actually never got a chance to see that either. Watched it at like 2 a.m. one night, and like that blew me away, that film did, because it was just so weird and so
Kind of gets you immediately with
it
its
does.
opening.
Yeah, the opening. Oh my God. I never thought someone could put that in a film. It's so scary.
I saw Hereditary in the cinema back in the day, and I remember not really liking it. It was good, you know, but I remember everyone saying it was the scariest thing ever, and I kind of went into it like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna shit myself, you know. But it was just kind of, it was fine, you know what I mean. And then it took me. I wanted to go see Midsummer. The trailer was very cool. Never got around to it. But then you saw Midsummer. Quickly told me to watch it. I watched it like, I think the day you recommended it to me, and it made me kind of reassess Ari Aster's movies. So I went back and I rewatched Hereditary with an audience, well, not an audience, with a group of like friends,
Yeah.
in a really cool setting, and like it was like in the house in the country,
Yeah.
and it really did change the way I look at it. I appreciate it a lot more. But Midsummer, I don't know which is more scary, that or Hereditary, but Midsummer, oh man,
They're very different, which I like.
There's I think the movie stops being scary for me in the last act. I think it just becomes a very different type of film, which is fine, but there's two scenes in it that like just are shots of people. I won't spoil the context, but they are terrifying. You know what I mean? They're just two shots of people in two different contexts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And one is at the start and one is at like the end of the second act. And it's one of those things where you do double takes looking at them and you're like, what the fuck is that? You know? And
Yeah, exactly. I feel like Ari Aster had this idea to make like a cult movie, and he was like, how am I going to get it over the line? Like, how am I going to just push the boundaries very far? And he did that with the opening. Like, the opening was really pushed. Really pushed the boundaries, and it makes you, because it's so realistic, because it's such like it's something that could happen anywhere, because you don't know what goes on behind closed doors in families and people's mental health and stuff like that. And that's what kind of like scared me. I'm like, God, anyone's capable of doing something like this.
People have said that he kind of makes it his goal to shock people, and I think he's actually come out to say that, you know, because there's the part in Hereditary that shocked a lot of people as well. But
that shocked me. I had to pause it after that, because I was creeped out. And I was watching it at night again.
I think it's fine for him to shock people. I think if he said it, he wants
Oh,
to
yeah,
shock people.
yeah.
It's cool. I saw his other film, his short film, which I didn't love.
I did not want to watch it after you told me about
The
it.
Strange Thing About the Johnsons, I think. I can't remember exactly. But that movie was very, I feel like, just, oh, I'm going to disturb you now. And it was kind of...
Yeah.
It felt a bit...
He does it purposely.
Yeah, it felt a bit cheap in the short movie, but I really liked it.
Okay.
In the two other films, because you know the short movie is just
well.
so fucking weird. Just go watch the short movie if you want it. It's a very odd movie. I feel like we should probably talk about Midsummer in its own episode, which I would love to do in the future.
Yeah.
You can't speak. You can't move. But this opens you up to the influence. And it breaks down your defenses.
Another, I guess I can kind of say Midsummer and Hereditary. I kind of tied them in together. So I guess like my second one was Amelie. That was really nice.
My copy of Amelie, so I get a lot of the credit for that. An unopened copy of Amelie was still in the plastic, which I don't even know anything about the movie other than it's like French manic pixie dream girl, I imagine, and that's all I can
pretty
say
much,
about it.
French manic pixie dream girl. It's actually really lovely, and the theme tune is so gorgeous. So I learned it on the piano. I thought it was a really nice thing to learn. Just under 2 hours long, which is quite long for the type of film. But I really liked it. It's very like jittery. It's kind of it's just a kind of different way of filmmaking, like the production design and the color grading and stuff of it. I don't love that. I think it's very green and red. Like I kind of like more bright colors. It's kind of dark in that sense, but it's a really, really nice film, and it ends nicely. And yeah, I thought it was gorgeous. It was on my watch list for a long time, and finally got to watch it. Just very quirky, you know?
Yeah, it's one of those ones that I feel like I don't want to really watch it that much. I know I kind of have to watch it, but like it's one of those ones that's so kind of quirky and people talk about it, and it's like the quirk of it is like, oh, I've probably seen the movies that have tried to imitate that, if you get me. And it's putting me off watching it in a way because of its kind of quirkiness. But I'll get to it eventually.
I think it's very different. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was a very different movie, and I think I haven't seen anything quite like it.
Savez-vous quel est le point commun entre tous ces personnages? C'est Amélie. Amélie Poulain.
So my next one, I guess, it needs a bit of a setup because if people would watch this movie, I guess a lot of people won't appreciate it. But it's another one on Shudder. Shudder. It's time to sponsor us. It's called Deadbeat at Dawn from 1988 by Jim Van Beber. Now, I don't know what he's like as a person, so I'm not going to talk about him or anything. But the movie itself, it's like, I'm not sure if it was shot on 16mm or if it's shot on a VHS, but it was like a Warriors type street fighter kind of movie where it's two rival gangs fighting each other, and I just fucking loved it in the sense that it's cheesy. There's really like quotable lines, but it's clearly a guy who had about 500 quid to make a movie and got his mates to be in it, and like they're all street punks and they wear like goofy looking costumes, but the gore in the movie is great, but it's clearly gore that was made by them. So it was like,
okay,
it's not fake. The majority of the time it's not fake looking. It looks really good, but it just, to me, it's like Evil Dead 1, where you can see how they made it, but it kind of makes it endearing, and it's one of those movies that if you're a film fan, you should watch it because it's so, like, if they can do it, yeah,
it's
if
nice
they can
to
do
see.
it, anyone can do it, you know what I mean? Like, and I watched it with my cousin, who is a filmmaker in his own right, and he did our intro outro music. I was on the set of his movie, and I was doing special effects for his movie. So we were doing that day, I think I don't know, I was doing a neck slit thing, so I was covered in, or a throat slit thing, so I was covered in fake blood for basically the majority of the day, like stained in this fake blood. And like the movie had wrapped and everything, everyone went home, and I was staying with him, and we were like, okay, let's watch a few movies, and this was one of them. And to me, it was kind of fitting just to finish up on an indie short, be kind of stained in fake blood, watching this movie of these guys going out and just doing it and making the fake heads that are getting run over by cars. And, if you like Evil Dead, I'd say watch it. It's incredibly quotable as well. Some of the best lines in it, And I just think as well, it's quite clever with what the stuff they do. I think there's a really interesting look at heroin addiction as well in it, which people probably will find funny. I bet you I'll show you the trailer and you'll be like, this looks like shit, I'm never gonna watch this. But if you can get over what it looks like,
yeah,
it's genuinely really entertaining.
All my life people have fucked with me. Don't you fuck with me, man. I just fucking hate people. I hate people. And I don't care! I just don't fucking care. I don't care. No! I am the baddest motherfucker you ever saw, man!
Phantom of the Paradise by Brian De Palma. So this movie is basically, in 1974, it's basically the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So if you like the Rocky Horror Picture Show, it's Brian De Palma's version of that. It's got Jessica Harper from the original Suspiria in it, and it has Paul Williams, who wrote a bunch of music for famous musicians, but I would know him most as the guy who wrote all the Muppet music. So Rainbow Connection and stuff like that, he wrote that. But it's basically like a 70, I was going to say a modern retelling, but it's not, it's from the 70s. So it was like this kind of retelling of Phantom of the Opera and Faust and all these different kind of stories woven together about this songwriter who sells his soul to the devil. Again, I don't want to talk about it too much because I think people should just see it, because it's so, if you like the Rocky Horror Picture Show, going back to our first episode that we recorded, you heard us talk about that.
Yeah.
This to me was like a perfect double bill with that movie. I think a lot of people have compared it to the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's got Garrett Graham in it as a character called Beef, and I think every scene he's in just stole the show.
Man, you better get yourself a castrato for this, because it's a little out of my range.
Really, really enjoyed the aesthetic of it, and it's another musical. I quite like musicals, and when it's a musical that's kind of like alt, kind of different, like Rocky Horror Picture Show, I just really, really enjoy them. So definitely worth checking out.
20th Century Fox presents Phantom of the Paradise, a gothic horror story.
What was that?
My last one was probably my most pretentious pick, but it's the cook, the thief, his wife, and her lover. The Peter Greenaway movie that is like probably best watched on acid. Probably not actually. It'd probably freak a lot of people out.
I've never heard of it.
It's like a big play. It's all takes place in this restaurant, but the restaurant is like a gourmet palace, like, and Michael Gambon plays a gangster, and Helen Mirren is his wife, and he abuses her all the time, and he's loud and kind of boorish, and Tim Roth is in it, and Kieran Hines in like bit parts, but it's basically her affair with I think he's a librarian. Yeah, there's actually only like 3 locations like a play. There's the library, where the librarian lives, the restaurant, and outside the restaurant. And it's got this really cool thing in it that it's set in contemporary times, but all the characters dress like they're in a period piece in a way. So the whole movie's based off like paintings. Every shot looks like a painting.
Oh, okay.
There's this great thing. What they do is they're in the main kind of dining area of the restaurant, which is like a big red velvet type room. So everyone has like a red sash around their costume. You know, all of the gangsters have them, and Helen Mirren could be like in a red dress or have a dress that has a part of red. When they walk off into the halls of the restaurant or into the bathrooms that have more of a green tint, all of the sashes turn green, so it changes color every place they move.
Okay, that sounds really cool.
Yes,
I really want to watch that.
Incredibly like trippy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, it's so good. It's incredibly trippy, but the movie is so brutal with its violence.
Okay.
And like, I mean, I like violence in movies, but like, it's so, because it's like a play, all the performances again are very like Deadbeat at Dawn, very different things. This is like Shakespeare. Deadbeat at Dawn is like secondary school play.
Yeah.
This is like, you know, obviously it's like quote unquote high art, but like, it's amazing that just they're also quotable. Like Michael Gambon is like yells the majority of what he says.
Yeah.
It's really disturbing as well. I actually heard about it in an interview with Ari Aster, that he said that it was one of his favorite movies because it was so disturbing. Because there's a particular way the movie ends, which is very fucked up, which I love, because it just comes kind of out of nowhere. There's this whole theme of like food being used as different things. So like food can be used for like sex, but also food can be used for like violence. So like a lot of the characters are intimidated or killed through eating stuff. So like, you know, it's a pretty gross movie as well. Like, I think the opening of the movie is Michael Gambon's gang take a guy and shove a bunch of like dog shit in his mouth in the opening, and then like he tortures a child in it by cutting off the buttons on his coat and force feeding them to the little kid. So it's very interesting movie though.
It sounds a bit out there, but the way you've described it, I actually really want to watch it now.
Here's your chance to improve your table conversation. Tell Michael you live in a big house and you spend £400 a week on clothes.
I spend £400 a week on clothes.
You eat in the best restaurants.
I eat in the best restaurants.
Georgina, try a little harder, please.
2 other films that I discovered over lockdown. One was La Grande Bellezza, and I told you about this film. Did you watch it in the end?
No one, the audience
La
can't see,
Grande
but
Bellezza.
you didn't speak with your hands, and it's really offending me.
La Grande Bellezza. That was a really crazy film. At the beginning, they're at this like really rich party, and it's just really weird and jarring, but funny, if that makes sense. It's just like that kind of Italian humor of how it is, and there's loads of the camera like hones in on different people who come up later in the film, who are like all kind of like main characters, are all at this party because they're all like artists. Jep, who the film is based around, he's like a writer. It's just all about like their kind of conversations about being an artist, and just very philosophical. I would recommend it. I think you would really like it if you watch it. It's something I'm going to go back and watch again. I really liked like what they talked about throughout the film in terms of like being like an artist.
Quasi senza rendermene conto, in quello che si potrebbe definire il vortice della mondanità. Ma io non volevo essere semplicemente un mondano. volevo diventare il re dei mondani.
Another film, Before Sunrise.
Oh, that movie's amazing.
I have a bit of a guilty pleasure for those kind of films.
It's not a guilty pleasure. I said this.
It's not a guilty pleasure,
There's
but
no
you know what I
guilty
mean.
pleasure movies unless like they're bad. Like that movie's amazing. You know what I mean? That
No, it
movie's
is.
really
Yeah,
amazing.
I didn't know you've seen that. God, you've a soft spot that I never realized.
Yeah, no, I love. Was it like romantic comedies that are like independent? Well, indie romantic comedies or indie romantic dramas, I guess. You know.
It's actually, and it makes you want to go traveling and like around, like, you know, Europe.
Which one is that again? Is it the second one or is it?
No, it's the first one, Before Sunrise.
Okay.
It's when they're young and they're on the train in Austria and they get off the train and they just have like these really philosophical conversations, and when you follow them, it kind of like it resonates with you.
Yeah, like it's all like extremely relatable. It's Richard Linklater.
Yeah, exactly, and they're roughly around the same age as us, and it's just so nice. I really want to watch it again. I actually heard that it's based off Richard Linklater's real life experience, that he met this girl when he was traveling, and they basically they had like a plan to meet up or whatever, but I don't know if they ever they never met up again. But he based this film on that. And before the film was premiering, he tried to get in contact with her, but she actually had died a couple of weeks before that. It's really sad. But anyways, let's move on from that. Yeah, I think that's a really nice film. And if you're into it, like, even if you're not into romantic comedies and if you're into philosophical stuff, I think it's not even a comedy,
relatable.
but it's kind of
it's
relatable. And
there's a great scene in it when he's talking about how was it that his ex-girlfriend would like be walking down the street with him, and a bunch of guys would be like, "Oh, hey baby, nice ass," and she'd be like, "Fuck you, you creeps." And then Ethan Hawke's character's like, "They're not gonna kick the shit out of you. They're gonna kick the shit out of me." And that always stuck in my head.
Yeah, that's actually so true. I remember that bit.
All right, I have an admittedly insane idea, but if I don't ask you this, it's just gonna haunt me the rest of my life. I have no idea what your situation is, but I feel like we have some kind of connection, right?
Yeah, me too.
Great. So listen, here's the deal. This is what we should do. You should get off the train with me here in Vienna and come check out the town. We just got into Vienna today, and we're looking for something fun to do. Sprechen Sie English?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Could you speak German for a change?
Then my last one, Good Time.
Oh yeah, Good Time, which you thought came out in 2020.
Yeah, I thought Good Time had only came out this year because it was on Netflix and I saw it and it came up in recommend, like it was like the big thing on the top. So I was like, I just assumed this is new. So I watched it and I thought it was incredible. I've really had a really newfound respect for Robert Pattinson, especially after The Lighthouse, because you know, you always think of him, well, not always, not everyone does, but I would have thought of him from like Twilight and stuff. Not that I had like any disrespect for him after that. Like, I mean, that's just a fucking movie. That's just a role. Like, but
the Harry Potter syndrome thing.
I think we
said that in our first episode. Maybe maybe it was a deleted scene, but how people only see them as like Jacob and Harry Potter. It's like,
exactly.
You know, it never really occurred to me. You know,
I was like, yeah, he's an actor, but I didn't know how talented he was. And then I saw him in The Lighthouse. You know that movie, Remember Me, of him.
Oh yeah, the 9/11
I love that film. Yeah, the 9/11 film.
No,
really sad.
I never saw that film.
Yeah, it's really good.
He is a very good actor though. I did see him in I forgot to write this in my 2020 movies. I saw the Tom Holland film Devil All the Time on Netflix, which I really did not like. But people gave out to Robert Pattinson for his accent in that because it's a real southern drawl like that. I thought it was fine. I thought he was funny and I enjoy it. I mean, he's not a funny character. He's a pedophile in the movie, but...
oh, Jesus.
And what the Lord experienced was a delusion that would have kept him from saving us. But he did not fall for it.
Yeah, no, I thought he was great in Good Time because there's just something about Robert Pattinson. He's really
dreamy.
No, he's a really clean kind of actor, but he can make himself seem so grim as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's a kind of a pedophile in that movie as well.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen that movie, so I can't tell.
In Good Time.
Sorry, he is. You're right.
Yeah.
I forgot the girl he kisses in it is only 16.
The Safdie brothers made that with Uncut Gems, but it's that realness again, their American realism, you know what I mean, where he is a proper criminal, he's very kind of dirty and unpleasant, and he'll do dirty, horrible things like pouring the LSD over the guy's head and shit like that. You know what I mean? To fuck with him and stuff like that.
And also using his younger brother who has a learning disability, which is the biggest horrible thing. But the ending,
I love that ending when he's back.
They're all in the
I don't
room.
I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it. But the end credits are very. The end credits started to roll, and I was like, oh, they're gonna play it over this whole scene. You know, a scene.
Yeah,
plays
it's
out
very
in the
it's
classroom.
endearing in that sense. Yeah, they're in the classroom and they're doing the thing. But yeah, he's just so vulnerable, that kid, and it just makes me feel really sad that people would take it. And it's so true, because people take advantage. There's horrible people out there who do take advantage of people who are a little bit more vulnerable, and it's really sad in that sense.
Benny Safdie plays him really well. Like, I don't know if he's done much other acting, but really, like, it's cool that he played this character, because he's like the catalyst of the whole movie, you know. And that's weirdness that Robert Pattinson has, where it's like that I care deeply for my brother, yet I'm going to use him for a really shitty thing. And when he gets him in this bad situation, he has to, well, I have to save my brother. It's like, save your brother from a situation you created, you know?
You created, yeah, exactly. It's just, it's all based around that day to the next day. I thought it was a great film. I think Robert Pattinson is incredible, so.
You're incredible, do you understand? Yeah. I'm serious. You think I could have done that without you standing next to me being strong?
That's all my top 5 movies that I discovered in 2020.
The movies I discovered in 2020 worth checking out are I, Tonya, American Animals, Deadbeat at Dawn, The Cook, the Thief, His Wife and Her Lover, and Phantom of the Paradise.
The movies that I discovered of 2020, it's I guess Midsummer and Hereditary. I'm going to put them in one. Amelie, Good Time, La Grande Bellezza, and Before Sunrise. So that's us for our top movies of 2020. Thank you for listening, if you've gotten this far. If you want to follow me on @TheSilverScreen on Instagram. And if you want to follow the 404 Films Instagram, it's @404Films.
And you can follow me on Instagram @CarlCahill_director. Thank you.
Adios, amigos.